Do you wish you knew exactly how to write a sales post to attract soulmate clients using the most powerful gifts from your astrology chart? Well, guess what? Now you can learn how for free. I'm going to share my cosmic copywriting secrets that have helped people to instantly turn strangers on the internet into buyers for their high-ticket offers. In my 5-part training series, Cosmic Attraction Copywriting, you'll learn the mindset switch that takes my clients from feeling confused about their content or not feeling fully safe to share their story online to making sales more easily and naturally than ever before, with the astrological placement that unlocks a new level of depth in your storytelling that builds trust 10 times faster with the clients who are genuinely a very aligned fit to work with you. Plus, the messaging tweaks that take my clients from attracting people who can't afford it to easy sales into 5-figure offers with no sales calls. And you'll get clarity on the 3 things your soulmate clients need to hear from you consistently in your message to feel confident and excited to buy your offer. You'll also get my writing process prompts to share your story in a powerful way that stands out to the right people and leads to ready to buy clients popping up into your DMs asking to work with you. Click the link in the description for instant access to Cosmic Attraction Copywriting. This is Sarah Mack and welcome to Creative Magic Club. Together, we'll discover inspirational stories of creative entrepreneurs living out their dreams, doing the work they are most passionate about, and building wealth in magical and fun ways. While building a 6-figure income as a writer and coach, helping other women to launch their dream businesses, I've connected with so many incredible people and seen it proven again and again that you can thrive financially doing whatever it is you are passionate about. I am here to share life-changing strategies for mindset, making money, and reaching more people with your work in a business and life filled with creativity, freedom, and fun. Hi, Sarah Mack here, and welcome back to the Creative Magic Club podcast, the place to become a 6-figure creative by filling your high-ticket offer through authentic storytelling guided by astrology. And this is the final part 3 in my high-ticket marketing series. So if you haven't already, definitely go back and check out part 1 and 2. In part 1, I share my 5-figure offer high-ticket sales script for coaches and creative entrepreneurs. And in part 2, I share how I built a high-ticket client attraction system using my astrology chart. So today we're going to dive into how to find high-ticket clients with my top 3 astrology branding placements. The first one I'm going to dive into is the Midheaven. This is your 10th house. This represents your career and legacy. So it's super, super important to really dive into embodying this in your brand. So some of the connections that I made, I've always been very intuitive in my approach to branding. But when I discovered that Gemini, which is the ruler of my midheaven, really does represent all colors of the rainbow, but also with particular prominence, the color yellow, I was like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I was intuitively drawn towards representing myself in my brand. And I want to talk about how, color choice is obviously just one angle, but it can be so, so powerful in connecting with clients online because it makes you really memorable and people feel you and people connect to so much more than just what you say. And this is really the power of brand. And obviously Gemini represents changeability, right? It's immutable. And, one of the key features of Gemini energy is curiosity and just always diving into one thing and then another thing and always wanting to be changing, which, you might think would pose a challenge as a brand because the traditional advice is always to become really known for one thing, right? Become recognizable, really get repetitive and be really clear in how you are establishing your reputation and what it is that people remember you for. But I'm going to talk a little bit how just trusting what came intuitively to me has really worked for me and really worked for my brand, despite regularly changing and pivoting and shifting. So ChatGPT can be a great place to explore some of the key themes and colors and aesthetics. Obviously, Pinterest. Definitely go back and listen to episode 249 with Leah Vanderveld from the Cosmic Style podcast. She shared some really great wisdom on using astrology when thinking through your brand and your visual style. That's really her zone of genius. It was such a great conversation. And then check out her Pinterest boards because she's made some for the astrology placements. My relationship with astrology came into business several years after I'd already been making six-figure years in my business. But it really gave me so much evidence as to why following our astrology chart strategically works for us. I've always led from my intuition in my business, and our intuition is just, it's always right. It is the fail-safe strategy that will work. And when it feels good, you are moving in the right direction. I wish I had seen myself for the intuitive genius that I am early on in my business, because I feel like the story that I tell myself a lot of the time is I'm just doing it because it's easy, and obviously following our intuition doesn't always feel easy, but it is going to be the path that is going to shortcut the struggle and it's going to shortcut the busy work, right? And I think I didn't have time for time wasting. I didn't have time for busy work. I didn't have shitloads of money to just invest up front in my business. So I was always just working with what I had. And I think really bringing the mindset that what I have available to me right now is enough. And so my very first photo shoot, when I figured I should probably get some type of professional photo done, I actually asked my friend Daisy to capture a photo for me. I think we did some type of a trade. She was living near where I was living at the time, which was upstate New York in middle of nowhere town, Middletown. I just put on the nicest dress that I had that I'd bought from a thrift store in New York. I drove over to her house. It was covered in snow. It was actually snowing. I think it was in January. For some reason, I always had the urge to do photo shoots in January. So I had so many winter photo shoots. And I was standing there in this little cocktail dress in the snow, and she snapped my portrait, and that became my brand imagery. And obviously I always wear bright colors. So of course there was a bright color, and I think I was wearing bright pink lipstick. So that really established my brand from the beginning. And we didn't do different angles. We didn't do costume changes. It took about 5 minutes, but I loved the photo and I love being outside in the snow. So I feel like I want my brand to just be an authentic representation of me. I felt that is really a big part of my brand vibe and my brand style. And I think that in part is what has made it so easy for me, is because that is really a big brand value for me. So knowing that, having done that work to connect to that truth, I knew that whatever I was capable of in the moment, whatever I had available to me, whatever locations or clothing genuinely inspires me, that's enough. And then the same thing happened again. It was my same friend, Daisy O'Brien, and I decided to do another photo shoot. It might have been a year later, also in January. And I was like, hey, let's travel down to the city and just capture this phase of my life. This is where I'm living. And obviously I thought I was going to live there forever when I lived there. I've now come to the understanding that I move a lot. Now that I understand that I have a Sagittarius 4th house with Uranus in it. And again, I just grabbed my favorite clothes that I felt looked the most presentable, that were the most colorful. And one of those outfits was my pink shirt with a bright yellow wool cardigan. Again, both vintage pieces. I got them both in New York. And she snapped a really iconic photo of me in front of the merry-go-round in Dumbo in Brooklyn. And that really became my brand headshot for so many years. And yellow and pink became my brand colors. And I can't tell you how many comments I've got from people who were like, oh, you're like the pink and yellow girl. And they were just really striking. And they were really striking in my thumbnail. They would stand out to people. And for people who love color, somebody called me a color witch. And I was like, oh, I feel so seen. But I resonate with bright color. I love it when people wear bright colors. I love it when things are bright colors. I love it when I wear bright colors. So I naturally gravitate towards bright colors. Same conversation that I was having a few episodes ago about pitching to other people's podcasts. Same thing with brand language, right? When you use certain bold language, you're instantly going to attract people. Same thing with if you are into bold colors or, very particular aesthetics. If you really lean into that, whatever your aesthetic is, you are going to resonate with people who resonate with that. So it's just a power tool for creating instant connection with people. Like, I immediately love people when they're just dripping in color. It gives you so much information about them, right? So I lead with all the colors, and people always comment on how I dress with so much color. And it's so easy for me to naturally represent myself in this way in my brand because it's how I live. And I definitely started wearing more yellow when I realized this had become such an iconic color in my brand. I was the pink and yellow girl. So I do wear this color combo a lot, but it just started from that place of authenticity. Like, I just felt good in it. And so I wore it, and then it really took root in my life. So the next placement that is really pivotal for creating an iconic and resonant brand that's going to give so much information about who you are is Chiron. So as you know, I talk about this a lot on this podcast. So if you want to learn more about Chiron, definitely download my free 5-part series, Cosmic Attraction Copywriting, where I really go in depth into understanding your placement. It's known as the Wounded Healer, and how to use it as a guide for emotional storytelling. Because here's the truth, it doesn't matter what you do with your brand if there's no emotional authenticity and real human connection. And this happens when people can get to know the real you. And the number one place where people hold back when they are representing themselves online, and the number one thing that you can hone in on to be making more connections with clients and making more sales, is that emotional authenticity and connection, especially when it comes to high ticket, right? Like, the Cosmic Copy Mastermind is the place to get the support that will bring your dream of becoming a 6-figure creative to life in 2025 by selling your high-ticket offers with sales copy driven by stories and guided by astrology. Your goal is to fill your high-ticket offer with dreamy soul clients. But right now, you're wondering what exactly needs to shift in your content to start seeing consistent sales month after month, right? You're posting consistently, and maybe you're even getting great engagement, but you can't quite figure out why people aren't lining up to buy your life-changing offer. You know your work is incredible. Maybe you're even getting a ton of referral clients, but when it comes to putting your unique magic into words that clearly paint the picture of what it's actually like to work with you, it feels complicated. Or maybe you keep getting in your head about your high-ticket prices and thinking that that's the problem. Well, let me tell you, it's not your price. You're not alone in this. It's not easy to put your magic into clear copy that converts when you try to do it alone. I've made multiple 6 figures in my business, and I've written copy for more than 1,000 entrepreneurs, and I continually invest in mentorship around messaging. Why? Because it makes it easier to consistently create content that leads to sales every month. That's why I created this mastermind, where we'll use your astrology chart to remind you of your unique genius, gifts, and personal story, using personalized prompts with my hands-on support and edits to translate all your magic into content that's building your 6-figure brand in a way that feels authentic, aligned, and so much fun. This is my magic, helping you to attract deeply compatible clients through authentic storytelling driven by your unique astrology, and doing it in an inspiring community of other creative entrepreneurs making big moves, living life to the full, and building your version of a 6-figure dream business. Message me the word mastermind on Instagram at SarahMacMagic for the full details. These are the things that create faster connection. If you want more consistent sales, if you want connections with people who are dream come true clients, who get you, who are already sold by the time they reach out to join your offer, these are some of the things that when we really lean into them, it's going to make sales so much easier for you. And with high ticket, it's an absolute non-negotiable. People need to know and feel connected to who they are hiring. This is really predominantly the work that I do with clients, is to get them out of hiding. And it's crazy how much we can be showing up, but still hiding. And, you know, I've been there. And I still go through those periods where I'm posting content, I'm showing up, I'm saying things, but I'm not really showing myself. I'm not really connecting. I'm not allowing people to emotionally connect to me because I'm not sharing my story. It's so easy to not share our stories. There's so many other things that we can waffle on about that can appear valuable, right? But without that genuine emotional human connection that comes through letting people get to know you, you are not going to be attracting clients into your high ticket offer with any consistency or success. So how do I embody this? I tell personal stories pretty much every time I show up. And that is an intention for me. And sometimes I have to write it down to remind myself. I have to prompt myself because, especially with my son in the 12th house, and for all of us, our tendency is to hide, right? Because especially when we don't feel safe, because sharing our story, taking a stand for what we believe in, selling, it is vulnerable. So our natural inclination is to hide. So we have to put the systems and support structures in place to stop ourselves from hiding. And this never freaking goes away, okay? So this is a skill. This is a toolkit. It absolutely must be your number one priority skill set if you want to be attracting clients into a high ticket offer online. I make an effort to talk about my challenges and my insecurities as much as my wins and results and my accomplishments at both ends of the spectrum are super important here. And, you know, this doesn't mean I need everything to be going perfectly all the time. This is really developing that ability to identify what are the wins, even if you're in a period of life and business where it's small wins that you're celebrating, right? You don't need to be having these huge, crazy results all the time to be able to demonstrate your value. We can't have one without the other. If you're just everything's going great, no one's going to trust you. And if you're here's all the challenges I'm moving through without really championing your successes and your results, no one's going to hire you. So you have to have both. When people come to your brand, they want to be inspired by what's possible, but they also want to feel seen in the challenges that come when they are working towards reaching their goals. So this is why Chiron is a really great place for us to connect to that vulnerable storytelling that does that. The next placement that's super powerful to understand and to really dive deep into when we are building a brand is our 4th house ruler. So the way that we find this is we look at the sign that rules our 4th house, and then we look at the planet that rules that sign. And this represents the values of your ideal client. And this is a technique called stepping your chart, because your 4th house is actually the 7th house of your 10th house, which is basically what represents your career and business. So my 4th house is Sagittarius, and the ruler of Sagittarius is Jupiter. And Jupiter is in my 5th house in Aquarius. So for me to understand the values of my ideal client more deeply, I look at the 5th house, and the values of the 5th house are creativity and play and pleasure. Then I look at Aquarius, which is the sign on my 5th house where Jupiter resides. And Aquarius values are revolutionary technology, freedom, authenticity, and community. So if you've been following me, you can see that these are the main driving values in my life and brand. And this is really my ideal client. My ideal client is a creative revolutionary, right? Somebody who's super creative, has a big vision, wants to disrupt their industry, wants to really benefit their community and make a positive impact, and wants to do it in a way that creates ultimate freedom and authenticity and self-expression, and in a way that's fun and feels like play and doesn't want to feel boxed in. So the way that I embody this in my brand is so many ways. This is just very naturally who I am. This was the foundation and the value set that I built my entire business on, was to have creative freedom, was to have fun, was to impact communities that I care about. But I'm always going through a struggle with this myself, and I think that is what makes me relatable, because we all have that creative edge where we're like, oh my God, that would be so fun. That would bring me so much freedom and so much pleasure, but do I believe I can do it? You know, this is that perpetual conversation that we are in with ourselves when we are meeting our creative edges. And that for me right now is this tension between business and music, like really having the pull to make music, which is also a very new skill for me. I used to write lyrics for other artists back in my freelance days. It was like a little experiment. I've occasionally dipped in and booked some more of this work, but then I'm like, doesn't really fit into my business strategy right now, and would rather save that creative juice for my own music and writing songs. But it is time intensive alongside running a creative business. But, you know, I know that this is the vision that I built my business around, is to have the space to play and to create for the joy of it. And it's something I do almost every day. I play guitar and I sing just for me, just for the joy. And it really is an authentic expression of who I am. So it's very fifth house. I do it purely for pleasure and play. My Virgo rising always tries to turn it into a business strategy, you know, like you should record a meditation, you should become a sound healer, you should make a weekly musical content pillar. But that is not the point. The point is that I like music because it's play. But then I have to constantly rewrite that permission slip of it's okay to prioritize time to just do things that you love without it needing to have a goal or an outcome or to turn into a business strategy. So where I'm at with it now is I'll occasionally record a video of whatever I'm playing, but I do not have any strategic commitment to it right now. I do commit to doing it daily because that's what it takes to really feel the joy and the freedom that music has the potential to bring me. And even before I was sharing that I even played music, I was attracting a lot of musicians as clients. And even though I don't really know anything about the music industry, and I have actually learned a lot from my clients that I've supported, at least I share this point of reference with musician clients that helps them to feel seen and to feel connected and to feel understood. And with Pisces as my descendant, my seventh house, you know, that very watery, super creative energy is the vibe of a lot of the clients that I attract. And they come to me for more of that structure and consistency and business strategy that really helps them to channel their creativity into consistent income streams. All this to say, our values and how we naturally embody them become super magnetic points of reference that lead to sales from clients that are deeply compatible with who we are. And that makes for really fruitful and rewarding client relationships and coaching conversations that you are going to be obsessed with. So show people who you are and how you embody the values that are important to you. And as you can see, I'm not like out here being like, I help musicians. I know so much about the music industry. I'm a really skilled musician, because like that's not the focus of my brand and business. But just the vibe that people get from me because I do music, because of the vibe and the frequency that that creates, people pick up on that. And that leads to resonance. Same thing with my book. When I was writing my book, people were super attracted to come and work with me to get help on their business and their client attraction and their content strategy. I wasn't helping people to publish. I mean, I've definitely helped people develop messaging that has led to book deals, but that's not the goal of my transformational coaching offers. So you do not need to be perfect in any area of your life. You just want to give people a taste of the flavors of who you are. And the more authentically we can just show who we are being, that is going to do that. You know, we don't even need to be super strategic about it, but obviously these placements can really help us to pull out those angles or give us some ideas of ways that we can represent ourselves that really do show who we are at the core. So check your fourth house ruler for the values that are most important to your clients, because that's not only going to give you so much information about who they are and what they value, it's also going to lend you some specificity with the things that they are looking for actually in your work and in your offers. So for me, with Jupiter and Aquarius in the fifth house, obviously I attract a lot of creatives, performers, revolutionary leaders, community-oriented people with radical culture shifting ideas. And the reason they choose to work with me is because they need support in grounding their big, expansive ideas into reality with a lot of belief work, because Jupiter rules our beliefs, philosophies, and wisdom and teaching. And we bring their vision to life through fun, pleasure-focused creative strategy, which is the only thing that is going to work for that type of client, right? Same for me. Anyone who's hyper creative, we cannot be forced into a box or into a rigid formula. It is just not going to work for us. So you can see how many rich insights we can get from this placement that can actually become really powerful pillars of our brand and the conversations that we're having in our content to really confidently lean in to make it so obvious who our work is most compatible for. And there are just so many layers that we can go into with this one placement alone. And I love digging deep into this one with my clients, because you can break out very specific conversations that are going to sell your offer with a lot of clarity and potency and make you the undeniable choice for your specific type of client. And this is exactly why I created the Cosmic Copy Mastermind, to create a space to dive deep into custom tailored brand strategy based on your astrological placements, to work out the content angles, the content pieces, and the high ticket sales strategy that aligns with your cosmically compatible soulmate clients. So it becomes so freaking obvious who you are, how powerful your work is, and so it stands out to the right people. So they start hopping into your 5 to 10K plus offers, seemingly out of nowhere, and really excited to invest thanks to your content. So you can apply at withsarahmac.com or via the link in the description. I hope you've loved this content series. Please reach out with your insights, follow-up questions that you want me to talk about. And if you need any support in translating these into a six-figure brand strategy to attract soulmate clients through content that is authentically you, that you love to create, and that's sustainable and fun. Thank you so much for being here. Please share this episode with anyone who you know will love it. If you haven't already left a review, please go over to iTunes and do that, and I will love you forever. I'm sending you so much love, and I'll see you next week. Bye.